those who stand against them soon learn to fear the icy touch of death that they wield. With their mastery of ice and shadow, the rogue is a force to be reckoned with, striking from the darkness with lethal efficiency. Are you ready to join their ranks and embrace the power of the shadows? Welcome to my Frost Shade build for Rogue. This build uses double imbuements to always have a buff applied to your core skill. The core skill I'm using is Flurry, as it deals a lot of damage and heals me for quite a bit. I've never seen anyone else use this build, and I'm not claiming this to be the best build, but I can say with absolute certainty I had a blast playing this way. And I will be playing a rogue as my main when Diablo 4 launches in June. Some of the pros of this build are high sustained damage from your shadow imbuements, but also your other imbuement and the flurry. It has decent group synergy from crowd control, which you can get from your stun, from a daze, or from your cold imbuement or ice imbuement. Great survivability. Not only does flare heal you, but you have your ice imbuement CC. You have agility moves that can break CC. You have Dark Shroud that provides damage reduction, and you have your ultimate Shadow Clone that breaks CC as well. And you have high mobility from your agility skills and movement speed from inside the skill tree. Some of the cons of this build, I couldn't really think of any except for one. It is very resource hungry until you get about level 20. Then you unlock the Inner Sight specialization, which makes it to where if you hit the enemy that has eye over it, you'll fill up a bar, and when that bar is full, you have unlimited energy for 4 seconds. Alright, let's get to the build. The only thing you really need to know is that I'm using Fundamental Puncture, which gives me the vulnerability for 2 seconds. I'm using Flurry, and I maxed it out. And I'm using Improved Flurry, so that if I hit a vulnerable enemy, it spreads out to every other enemy. Shadow Step is my agility skill. It makes me unstoppable, so if I do happen to get stunned or suffer from any CC, I can immediately jump out of it to somewhere far away, and then either get my health back up with Flurry or CC them with imbuement or kill them. I'm also using Weapon Mastery here just to get that bonus. For most of the beta, when I was playing Rogue, I had swords, so I was getting 9% increased damage, but it also does give you other bonuses depending on which weapon you're using, but I was using swords really. Now here, you can go with Dark Shroud, you can go with Concealment. For most of the build, I had either Dark Shroud on Concealment or Shadow Clone. You can choose between either one. Shadow Clone just gives you extra damage. Dark Shroud if you want some more survivability. And then Concealment if you just want a guaranteed crit. Here I went with Exploit, just do more damage to healthy and injured enemies. And then just more damage to vulnerable enemies. And then here is where the build really shines. You get Shadow Imbuement. So your next two flurries, or a flurry and a shadow step, will be imbued with this shadow, and it'll deal increased damage, and when they die they explode. I didn't go all the way down, I just went here, so I get more crit chance against injured enemies that are infected with the shadow imbuement. And I didn't put a point into cold imbuement, but I had a piece of gear that had it on there, so I was able to equip it to my bar. And the cold imbuement works exactly like the shadow imbuement, where your next two skills that you can imbue will be imbued, but this one will chill enemies for 25% per hit. So you can imagine hitting a flurry with the cold imbuement. It was almost guaranteeing that you would CC at least one enemy. Go ahead. A ton of fun just hitting cold imbuement, CCing them, hitting shadow imbuement, and then killing them. And I had this as well, precision imbuement, so my imbued skills had even more crit chance. So I was almost always critting, so it just made this build even more fun than it already was. And like I said, I didn't see anybody using this, so I don't know how viable it could be, but even with just no real legendaries that were like going into one particular skill, I was still doing a ton of damage. So I didn't. It wasn't like my druid build where I had like 4 legendaries that were all feeding into one specific skill. I literally didn't have much at all. The only one I did have that I would say is pretty good was for Flurry. It was the aspect that you can get out of a dungeon where Flurry hits all around you. I thought that was pretty good. But yeah, that's all I have. Any problem that could come up, the Rogue has a solution for it, and that's the kind of class I enjoy playing the most. So until the Paladin, Crusader, or Holy Knight class comes out, I'll be playing Rogue.